Security program on spreadsheets, new regulations piling up, and audit dread? It's time for Vanta. Vanta automates security and compliance, brings evidence into one place, and cuts audit prep by 82%. Less manual work, clearer visibility, faster deals, zero chaos. Call it compliance or call it compliance. Get it? Join the 15,000 companies using Vanta to prove trust. Go to vanta.com/calm.
Silence or acceptance creeps in. People hesitate. Feedback gets withheld, and energy drops substantially. Slowly, the team underperforms, not because of a lack of talent, but because of a lack of peer leadership. And here's where the game changes. We don't often need more leaders. We need better teammates, not teammates who sit back and wait, not teammates who say, that's not my job, but teammates who show up like leaders. And this is the shift. Not lead your team, but be the kind of teammate that elevates everyone around you.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govind Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govind Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 352, and another in our Edge of the Napkin series. Today, I'm going to talk about another exciting subject. We often talk about leadership as something that comes with a title, something that is given to us, something that's earned over time, and yet, as you really start to reflect on your own experiences, you might begin to notice that some of the most powerful moments of leadership that you've ever witnessed didn't come from the person in charge at all. It came from the person right beside you, a teammate, someone who didn't have authority, somebody who didn't have positional power, and yet somehow they shifted the room. They brought clarity where there was confusion. They brought calm where there was tension. They brought energy where things had started to fade. And maybe as you think about that now, you can start to wonder, what was it about them? What did they do that made such a difference? Because in today's world where organizations are flatter, teams are more collaborative, and success depends less on hierarchy and more on how we show up for each other, there's a new kind of leadership emerging. One that doesn't wait for permission, one that doesn't require or come with a title, one that lives in how we show up as teammates. So today's conversation, we're going to explore what it means to be like a teammate, like a leader. Not by taking over, not by stepping above, by stepping into space in a way that lifts everyone around you. We'll unpack how the magnetic leadership framework, confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution, starts to show up differently when you're working with peers, and how you layer in something we all deeply need, whether we realize it or not, psychological safety. You begin to create an environment that is supportive, accountable, feedback-oriented, and encouraging. A space where people don't just perform, they grow. And as you listen today, you might begin to notice where in your own life, in your teams, and in your relationships, there are moments waiting for you to step in, not as the leader, but as a teammate, and the kind of teammate who leads anyway. So let's go to the edge of the napkin and explore what becomes possible when we all decide to show up just a little bit differently. There's a moment that happens in almost every team. It's subtle, and it's usually pretty quiet. And if you're not paying attention, you might just miss it. It's the moment where everyone looks around, and they're not looking for the boss, they're not looking for the manager, but they're looking for someone to step in. Not really for that person to take over or not to dominate, but to steady the room. Maybe to bring clarity, to bring energy, or to bring direction. And here's the truth that most people don't realize. That moment doesn't belong to a person with a title. It belongs to the person who chooses to be a leader anyway, even if among peers. Most of us were raised on a simple model that there are leaders and there are followers. Leaders speak, followers listen. Leaders decide, followers execute. And if you're not in charge, then your job is to support. But here's what I've seen over and over again in boardrooms, in locker rooms, and in families and in friendships. That model breaks down the moment you're surrounded by peers, because now no one is above you and no one is below you. You're together. And that's where things can get a little messy, because when there's no hierarchy, there's often no leadership. And flat organizations, cross-functional teams, partnerships, friends groups, or sports teams even, these are all environments where positional power can often disappear. And yet, performance really matters in these spaces. Culture matters. Results matter. So what happens? Silence or acceptance creeps in. People hesitate. Feedback gets withheld, and energy drops substantially. Slowly, the team underperforms, not because of a lack of talent, but because of a lack of peer leadership. And here's where the game changes. We don't often need more leaders. We need better teammates, not teammates who sit back and wait, not teammates who say, that's not my job, but teammates who show up like leaders. And this is the shift. Not lead your team, but be the kind of teammate that elevates everyone around you, being the best for the team and not necessarily even the best on the team. And this is where the magnetic leadership framework also comes in, because when you strip away titles, when you remove hierarchy, when you're left with, all you're left with rather, is energy. How you show up, how you impact others, how you shape the space. And that's what makes leadership magnetic. Remember, the leadership framework, the magnetic leadership framework, has 4 pillars: confidence, congruence, calm, and contribution. And layered on top of that is psychological safety, which we'll define very simply as supportive, accountable, feedback-oriented, and encouraging. SAFE. Safe. So let's walk through it. Not as a theory, but I want you to walk it through as something you can feel. So confidence is supportive. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is not dominance. Confidence is not I'm right. Confident is the quiet certainty that says I'm willing to be here to give you feedback. And when you're confident as a teammate, you don't compete with your peers for space. You create space. You create feedback. You create lift. You reinforce. Think about the best teammate you've ever had. Not the most talented, probably not even the most vocal or articulate or traditionally charismatic, but the one who made you better. What did they do? They noticed you. They acknowledged you. They trusted you. They believed in you sometimes before you even believed in yourself. That's confidence. Because insecure people don't support others. They protect themselves. They withhold praise. They withhold feedback. They guard information, and they compete for validation. But confident teammates, they don't shrink others to grow themselves. They don't stand on others' shoulders. They expand others and trust that there's enough room for everyone. It looks like this. Hey, that was a great idea. Can you walk us through it again? Hey, I've got your back on this. What do you need? Hey, you're really good at this. Take the lead. Hey, this thing over here, maybe we could do this a little differently. What do you think? And it's subtle, but it changes everything. Because when people feel like they've got feedback, they show up differently. They take more risks. They engage more deeply. They contribute more fully. And here's the key. This is not softness. It's strength. It's the strength to say, I see you, I trust you, I'm with you. And congruence is accountable. Congruence is alignment. It's what you say and what you do, and they match. It's integrity in motion. Say what you do what you say. And when you're a teammate like a leader, you don't enforce accountability, you model it. You are it. But here's the trap. We think accountability means calling people out, correcting them, holding them to a standard. But in peer environments, that often creates a lot of resistance, defensiveness, and distance. So what do we do instead? We become the standard. So here's where accountability models itself through congruence. You show up prepared. You follow through. You do what you said you're going to do. And when you don't, you own it openly, in public, cleanly, without excuses. No assuming, blaming, complaining, or defending. No A, B, C, D. Something powerful happens when you do that. You create a culture where accountability is safe, not something to avoid, but something to step into. And it sounds something like this. I missed that deadline. It's on me. Here's how I'm going to fix it. I'm committed to this, and I know I didn't deliver. What do you need from me to make this right now? We said we'd do this. Are we still aligned? How do we get this back on track? Notice, no blame, no shame, just ownership. And here's the deeper truth. People don't really resist accountability. They resist judgment. So when you show up congruent, you remove judgment and you invite others to rise and join you. Calm is support. And it's the most underrated leadership trait, especially amongst peers. Because when things get tense, when timelines tighten, and when expectations rise, the energy shifts. And most people react, they escalate, they withdraw, they defend. But being a teammate like a leader, well, those people, they regulate, they stabilize, they hold the space. Calm says, hey, we're okay. Let's figure this out together. And from that place, support becomes possible because support requires safety and safety requires calm. So safety-oriented or support-oriented looks like this. Hey, can I share something I noticed? Hey, what do you think we could do differently next time? Here's what worked, and here's where we can improve. Calm removes that emotional charge, and it turns the feedback into information, not into attack. And here is the magic. When you are calm, people can hear you. When you are reactive, people automatically defend. So if you want to be a teammate like a leader, don't just manage the work, manage the energy. Finally, contribution leads to encouragement or encouraging ideas. Contribution is about impact. It's about asking, how do I make this better for everyone? Not how do I look good? How do I win? But more, how do we win together? How do we solve this together? And when you operate from contribution, encouragement becomes natural because you're invested in others' success. Encouraging looks like this. Hey, you're closer than you think. Let's keep going. Hey, that was a great start. Let's build on it. You've got this. I believe in you. Just the way you are. Encouragement isn't fluff, it's fuel. And most people are walking around with a lot of doubt, second guessing themselves, holding back, and that hesitation can really compromise your results and your ability to execute. And sometimes all it takes is one voice, one moment, one teammate who sees something in them and says it out loud. That's leadership without a title. So let's connect it. Again, confidence turns into feedback orientation. Congruence turns into accountable. Calm turns into support. And contribution turns into encouraging. This spells out safe. So how you build psychological safety as a peer is not through policies, not through workshops, not through kumbaya, not through team building exercises, but through presence and through your behavior, through your consistency. And when a team feels safe, everything changes. People speak up, people step up, people take ownership, and people grow. Not because they were told to, but because they felt safe enough to. So here's where it feels like to be a teammate like a leader. It feels like walking into a room and bringing clarity even if no one asks. It feels like someone seeing someone struggle and stepping in without making them feel small. It feels like holding the standard without holding it over someone or lording over somebody. It feels like telling the truth kindly and softly and gently with curiosity. It's leadership without ego, without authority, and without permission. And here's the part I love most about this. It's available to everyone. You don't need a title. You don't need authority. You don't need a letter on your jersey. You don't need permission. You need a choice to show up differently, a choice to elevate the room, a choice to care not just about your work, but about the people doing the work with you. Because here's the reality. Teams don't rise to the level of the leader. They rise to the level of their relationships with each other. And the relationships are shaped by teammates. So let's take this somewhere even more important, and that's with our kids. Because if we wait until adulthood to learn this, we're already behind. Think about youth sports. And I mean youth sports including dance, including gymnastics, including hockey, baseball, football, all of it. How often do we hear be the best player, score more, win? And while winning matters, it really does. Winning and losing, learning how to win and lose is important and what it takes to win. And it does matter, but it's incomplete. What if instead we taught be the best teammate? Because the best teammate makes everyone better. So what does that look like? Well, confidence. It means cheering for someone who scores even if you didn't. It means not losing your composure when things go wrong. Congruence, practicing hard, especially when no one is watching. It means calm, not losing your composure and being there with someone when things are tough, even when things are tough, rather, and not just when things are good. Contribution, helping a teammate up, literally and figuratively. And layered all through it is safety. A team where kids feel supported, accountable, and safe to give and receive feedback, encouraged to try and give it a shot and bet on themselves. That's where growth happens, not just as athletes, but as humans. So I remember watching a game, and it's not because of the score, but because of a moment. A kid on the team missed an easy play. You could see it in his body language, head down, shoulders slumped. And he was already telling himself a story. He was already getting frustrated. And before the coach, and I was the coach in this situation, could say anything, and before the crowd reacted, a teammate came over to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and said something quietly. Kid looked up, nodded, and reset right away. That's it. No speech, no drama, but that moment changed everything because in that moment, he didn't feel alone. He felt seen. And that's what being a teammate like a leader does. They don't wait. They step in right away on the playing surface. So here's the challenge. Most people wait for someone else to go first. I'll speak up when they do or after someone else does. I'll support when I see it. I'll give feedback when it's safe for me to do it. But safety doesn't happen first. It happens because someone chooses to create it. So the question becomes, will you be that someone? And let's bring it back to focus, align, act. Focus. What kind of teammate do you want to be? Not what's expected, not what's modeled, but what do you stand for? Align. Where are you today? Where do you hold back? Where do you stay quiet? Where do you protect instead of contribute? Act. What's one thing you can do today to show up differently? One moment, one conversation, one action. Maybe one high five. Because leadership doesn't happen in theory. It happens in moments. So that's what this is all about. It's not about structure. It's not about hierarchy. It's about connection. You don't need to lead the team, and you don't need to be in charge. You don't even need a title. You just need to decide that I'm going to be the kind of teammate who makes everyone around me better. And when enough people make that decision, something absolutely incredible happens. The team becomes magnetic. People want to be there. People grow faster. Results follow, not because of one leader, but because of the entire team. There's a team full of leaders. So the next time you're in that moment when everyone looks around waiting, don't wait. Step in, speak up, support, align, stabilize, encourage. Be the teammate who leads anyway, and make it a great day.